Yeah, welcome guys. Today is the first section of the technical analysis class, basic to advanced. So, and on our course outline, we'll be having candlesticks, right? Yeah, candlesticks. So let me write that up there. Candlesticks. Right. I'll preferably say anatomy of candlesticks, right? Anatomy of a candlestick. Alright, so let's get started with this. Anatomy of a candlesticks, right? So probably the candlesticks we see, they represent others. When you look at your Binance, right? When you look at the orders flowing there, right? All those orders are being represented in what we know as the candlesticks, right? And so the candlestick definition in technical analysis, understanding candlesticks, how they behave is one of the easiest thing, right? It is the very basics to treat and one of the very easiest thing to learn, right? So to quickly get that done, let me show you what everything in candlesticks are. Okay, now in the candlesticks, anatomy of a candlestick, right? So let's get this thing. Here I'll be using white as a bullish candlestick, right? So white will be standing as a bullish candlestick. Let me get the color to white, right? So and black will be a bearish candlestick. Explaining it in a way that even a 5-year-old could grasp, right? So let's get something well here. Okay, like I said, white will be a bullish candlesticks in some charts, right? Okay, let me get something done said. In some people's charts, you see them using black and white, right? Most people don't like using red and green or colors like this because they don't like seeing red. You see this red color, it gets some person scared. Imagine you being on a trade and you seeing red candlesticks. So to some persons, it spoils their psychology. So instead of using red, they can use black and white because black is not that should I say heavy. Black doesn't, if you are using black, right, it won't have much effect on you to be like my trade will hit SL and all of those things. So that is one of the reasons you see most persons not using red candlesticks because they cannot withstand seeing, you know how red is. If you look at red, blood, all of these things, red for dangers and all of those things. Yeah. So most people prefer to use white and black instead of red, instead of seeing red in their chart. So, but to me, I can use anything, right? I believe that if you do the right thing in the market, anything that happens, you're already prepared. As a trader, you should be already be prepared for both loss and profits. But though that doesn't mean that people who uses black and white doesn't know what they're doing, right? It is for just for their own psychology to be in check. Yeah, so here now I'll be using white as our bullish candlesticks and I'll be using black. I'll make this thing black, yeah, so you won't get confused. Sorry. And I'll be using black as bearish candlestick. Okay, now, like I said, black can stand as bearish and white as bullish. And in a candlesticks, when you see candlesticks, okay, something is not complete here. Let me get my trend line. Let me add trend line. Okay. Okay, when the candlesticks has what we, let me mark out everything. I'm drawing how a candlestick resembles, right? Exactly everything that you see in a candlestick. This is what I want to do right now. Exactly how the candlestick is. I'm doing everything live, so you won't get confused or even have so much question after seeing this. And if you're already a pro, no need to worry. I don't want to drop videos on the Telegram channel and be like, you guys should see the video. It's actually boring. Yeah, so that's why I'll be doing this thing. So in a candlestick, right? This is a bullish candlestick, a bullish candlestick, a bullish candlestick. This candlestick in particular, right? This is a bullish candlestick, right? And in this candlestick here, we call this thing a wick or a shadow, a wick or a shadow. You see this line here, right? You can choose to call it a wick or a shadow. Right, some persons call it as weeks or week. If it is two, you call them weeks. If it is one, you call them a week, right? Some persons call them week and some call them shadows. Let me write them: week or shadow, right? So you can call this a week or a shadow, same as this one, those lines in those candlestick, right? You can call that a week or a shadow. So you call that a wick or a shadow, right? Then this you call this thing the body, right? You see here as a whole. You see here as a whole. I'm marking it. I'm going to mark it to show you. Let me get something. Okay. Here as a whole, you call that the candlestick body. You see the total of this thing, right? This is the candlestick body. So you are probably going to mark this as the body, right? I'm showing you anatomy of a candlestick, right? Everything you need to know about candlestick. When you see them, they can be anywhere, not in crypto. You can go to a forex pair now, open them up, and you see candlesticks in stocks markets, even in NFTs right now. Some NFT prices are being represented in candlesticks, as in charts form. When you see their price either going up or down, right? But these are not the things I'll be showing you. They are being represented in candlesticks. So this is the body of the candlestick, and I'll quickly be labeling it the body. After now, everything will be shown live. So you see that this is the body of the candlestick, right? Yeah, so the body. And this is another wick, but not to make this thing rough. So I won't be labeling that another. This is another wick. And now in a bullish candlestick, right? In a bullish candlestick, they open at the bottom, right? They open here. A bullish candlestick, they open when they want to open to maybe pumping, they open at the bottom and they close it at the above, right? That is why they are always bullish. Like they tend to be pumping. When they open below, they close it at the top. They open below, they close it at the top. They open below, they close it at the top, right? Yeah, so like that. They open at this point in price. Let me get all of these things off the chart. Probably some persons are newbie here. So the candlesticks open here, a bullish candlestick open at this point, right? This point and closes at this point. All right, so we mark this thing as the open. We mark here as the open, right? We mark there as open, as price open, right? Open, the open of the candlestick. Okay, let me get this thing off. Or should I mark this thing like this, open and close? Yeah, it will be better of this way. Open and close. You should know what I'm pointing out, that is open and close, right? So probably that is the open and this is the close, right? Yeah. So let me delete this so the chart could be very, very neat. Yeah, the die is the open and this is the close. At this point here is the close. All right, so we'll be marking that as a close. So now in this bullish candlestick, what you're actually seeing here is that a candle opens at this point in price, then closes here. This is the body of the candlestick. You see this big body, right? Some candlesticks are small, right? But this is the body of the candlesticks. And these lines that you see in a candlestick, this line, they are the wick. You can call it a wick or a shadow, but most people refer it as wicks, wick, right? Most people call it as wick. If you say shadow to someone, it may look foreign. So most people refer it as wick. That is for a bullish candlestick, right? And this bullish candlestick, you may wonder what these things are. What these things are. Maybe this top here, and this bottom here. I mean, the top, the very, very, the peak and the bottom, right? This one now means the highest price, the highest point price reached. This is the high of the candlestick, the high of the candlestick, the high of the candlestick, right? So the high of the candlestick. The highest point at which price reached in this candlestick, that is that high, right? Before it received a sell pressure that pushed it down, then price closed below. And this is the lowest point price reached, the lowest point. See this low, right? That is the lowest point price reached. So this one, now you mark it as the low, right? So this is the low of price, the low. Yeah, and that is it for a bullish candlestick. Now let's look at a bearish candlestick. Remember, I need to mark this as bullish candlestick. Let me candlestick. Yeah, a bullish candlestick. And now coming to a bearish candlestick, right? So a bearish candlestick, right? It's coming to a bearish candlestick. It's actually the opposite in a different way, right? In a bearish candlestick, if this one is a bullish candlestick and the high is this thing and this one is the low, same thing will be here, right? But there will be a little difference. Let me make the wick a little longer so you could have space to understand, right? Now in this bearish candlestick, this is the body, right? This is the body like we have here, same thing. This is the body. This is the body of the candlestick, the body, right? So seems like I'll be texting it on at the top, the body, right? That is the body of the candlestick, and this is the wick or shadow. Remember, the wick or shadow, the wick or shadow, this one here, right? The wick or shadow, the wick or shadow, right? Same as this one at the top, but I don't, okay, let me mark it there so you could grasp also. This is still the wick or shadow clone, right? This is still the wick or shadow. I mean, this thing, right, is still the wick or shadow. So that is the wick or shadow, right? So you can call it wick or you call it shadow. Anyone, it's the same thing. Now, this is the high. This is the high. This candlestick, the highest it reached was at this point, right? This is the high, same as this one, and this is the low, and this is the low, right? So let's test them. The high here, the low here, the low here, right? And the high, and the high now. Now the difference between these two is this. In the bullish candlestick, price open from bottom and closes at the top. But in a bearish candlestick, price opens from top and closes at the bottom, right? Price opens from here. In a bearish candlestick, price doesn't open from bottom, but in a bullish candlestick, price opened from here, right? Price opened from here, then closes at this point. But in a bearish candlestick, we don't have that. Excuse me, I need to, okay, let me cancel something. Right, but in a bearish candlestick, instead of price to open from here, it opens at this point. So in this candlestick, here is our open, here is our open at this point in price. This is our open, right? Let me mark it this way, and this is our close, right? Yeah, so at this point now, the price is, this is our open, right? And this is our close. This in particular is our close, right? But let me keep it here so you can see the arrow. But and that's our close. So now, and this is the wick. This in particular, this long line, right? It can be short, it can be long, but that line, that is a wick or shadow. Anyone you call it, same thing. Now these are open and these are close. Okay, we have the open here. Price opens from here in a bearish candlestick, right? And it closes at the bottom. That is the difference between these two. The difference is in their color, one, and how they open and close. In a bullish candlestick, it opens from the bottom and closes at the top. In a bearish candlestick, price opens from the top and closes at the bottom, opposite of the bullish one, right? Hence, everything remains the same. This remains the high, this remains the high, this remains the low, this remains the low, this remains the body, this remains the body, right? So now let's uh, mark our let's mark our close, right? So this is the close, right? So price opens from bottom and closes here. Now, with all I've said, this is the candlestick anatomy, how the candlesticks are being represented to you, right? The candlesticks you are seeing, these are they are being, this is their character, how they are being seen, right? Everything you need to know about a candlestick. The next thing is to go to live charts to show you guys. This is what you need to know about candlestick behavior, right? This thing you can choose to screenshot it when you're seeing it. Okay, me from my end here, I will copy the image. Escape. Right, I will copy the image, copy chart. So now this is what you need to know about candlesticks. Yeah, so now let's go to our live chat and show you things. I just want to finish everything related to candlesticks since it is a very simple aspect of technical analysis that you need to understand. It is very easy to grasp. No confusion in understanding the anatomy of a candlesticks, right? Yeah, so now let's dive to the chart. Let me go to 1 second, right? Enter. Is that 1 second or 1 minute? I need a lower time frame. Escape. I need to go to the 1 second time frame. Okay. Now we are in the 1 second time frame. I need to zoom in. So yeah, I'll show you how the candles open and closes. Oh, it's not clear here. All right. Let's go to let's go to 30 seconds or 15 seconds. Okay, now you could see them. Now let's observe how these candles does. Let's just observe like some certain time. Okay, the 15 seconds time frame is noisy, but let's see if you can observe anything. In less than 7 seconds, a new candle will be forming. Now, this is a bullish candlestick. Let's see where it closes. Right, this one just closed at the top. This candle, bullish candlestick, always closes at the top. Right, they open from bottom. They open from bottom. Forget that it doesn't have wick. This lower time frame, the candles are actually funny. They open from bottom, closes at the top. Right, this one opens from here. The bearish candlesticks open from here and closes here, right? Just like the same thing you were saying, anatomy of a candlestick. Look at the bullish candlestick formation. It opens from here and closes here. Another one will form. So like that, in at every 15 seconds, price forms a new candlestick. That's why it's called. Okay, later I'll make a video explaining what time frames actually is. Yeah, so this is how the formation is. When they open from here, when they open from a low, right, they close this at the top. If you look at a bearish candlestick formation, if a bearish candlestick is to form now, you see that it will open from the top and close at bottom. It will do the opposite of a bullish candlestick, right? Now, this is for anatomy of a candlestick, right? So let's look at enter. Okay, I'll be ending this thing here to continue the next topic. So I believe you've grasped the anatomy of candlestick. Right? Not too much things to confuse you about the candlestick behavior, how the candlestick is seen in charts, how truly they really are, right? This is the anatomy of candlestick, well explained for you, detailed and everything. So if after now you're having any question, you're in the WhatsApp group, right? Write your questions and I would answer. Right. Yeah. So this is how the candlesticks are being represented to you. Everything you are seeing here. The next topic will be types of candlesticks, because all these things you are seeing, there are different types of candlestick, right? Different, so they are really, really different, right? But we'll be looking at just two of them, the very two that are very useful, right? But let's dive into the next topic, types of candlesticks. All right. Yeah, once again, I'm Investor Ben, the founder of Crypto Digest. Yeah, so yeah, that is it. Investor Ben. I need to put my name up here so you could see me. Okay, that is interesting. I'm at the top here. Patience, discipline, fearless. That is how we execute our traits. All right, over to the next topic on candlesticks.